partners. So there you go. Let's talk about the book. There's some great email prospecting tips in here. I thought were some of the, because we don't, it's not like we do bulk prospecting via emails, right? But I feel like there were some great takeaways for the kinds of things that you can do to get your message read. And I think some of the things that I liked especially were, I think we're all guilty of writing emails that are far too long when you're expecting, especially when it comes to prospecting for business with a referral partner. So I think that was probably the thing that I see. I love that very end of it where he said, spell check, nothing, you want to be a human being, and it's okay to, have a couple of misspelled words here and there. But when you butcher an email and you just fly out and it flies out, that's not like that's, and you should all have spell check on your email so that it's spell checking it before it goes out. If you don't, and you don't know how to do that, make sure that you raise your hand and I'll show you how to freaking turn it on. But that was some of my biggest takeaways. Who wants to start with Dennis? Did you have a chance to go through this and give me some ideas of what you learned from the chapter?
Sure.
Actually, wasn't that long, was it?
No, it wasn't very long. It was a good refresher, obviously. Less is more. I think that's a good way to go through life in general. Just speak less, listen more. I have a funny story about the spell check. I did a campaign once where it went out before I got to proofread it for my partner. And we actually got a call because it was notoriously, he was pretty bad about not double checking his work. And so someone actually called and was like, I just want to make sure he wasn't having a stroke, because I forget what the line was. It was just so bad. But generally that's the better way to go, is to not put errors in there. Yeah, the bulk campaigns, they can be super effective, I think, with relevant news. I know a lot of you do that with any big news breaks that come out. If you can blast them out to even like pre-approval list, Chris, and there's always the good guilt factor of, do you realize how much money you've lost by not taking action and buying a house right now? That's always a good one, especially when it goes to a partnership, the husband and wife or partners, and they can it usually generates a lot of guilt for that, not to have guilt selling, but definitely good reminders. I need to do more.
One of the ones that stood out for me, I got an email yesterday, prospecting email from somebody that just said, "Dear name." So like, I'm not reading this email, right? Like, dear name, that's great. You don't fucking know my name, or you're so bad at this that you haven't I'm not going to read that. I'm not going to even read that email. Like, I don't know what it was for. I don't care what it was for, because the level of the lack of. So we talk about this, at least initially in everybody's training, is like, man, database integrity is so important. You can't all cap somebody's name. You got to, capitalize the first letter in somebody's name and the first letter in their last name. Addresses, like you've got to be phonetically accurate, because that shit is going to, and grammatically accurate, because that shit's going to go out. And I don't think people pay enough attention to it. And it's just a basic thing that a lot of, clearly, I mean, somebody spent a bunch of money building a campaign and they didn't check it. They didn't make sure that, my name was going to populate in the freaking broadcast email message that went out. And so
the HTML error.
I just like, that's just crazy to me. Right. So anyway, thanks, Dennis. Who's next? Chris, what do you got?
I'm not the biggest fan of the mass email. I guess now that I've been doing this 13 years, I want people to read my emails, so I don't try to oversend. So I got off all of the Happy Father's Day, Happy Veteran, all of those, because some realtor was telling me I got 32 of those on Veteran or Memorial Day, and you're just people just tune out when they get too many emails. So the only one I do mass send out is my weekly market update, which I've told everyone about, from Barry Habib. And then if there's a refi boom and you just need to blast out, 800, 500, whatever, I do that. But when I'm following up with realtors, or clients on their pre-approval, I just try to, I'll take the extra time just to send personal emails like, hey, how your kids doing, or whatever. So I don't have to run into any issues with misspelled names or anything, or looking generic. So that's me though.
Does anybody use video? Is anybody using video? Like I use BombBomb a lot, but does anybody use that a lot when they're sending out a message for the first time? Go ahead, Ryan.
You mean for the first time, or?
Like, yeah,
see.
maybe for the first time or.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to create a little bit more familiarity, but yeah, like.
I mean, I don't mean randomly like a cold call email video, but I'm in like when you're communicating with somebody who's expecting to hear from you, not necessarily a real estate agent, but
Yeah, I use video a lot for that.
yeah,
Sure.
I do too. That gets a lot of response. That gets a lot. People really, I've
People love
gotten
it.
really positive feedback when I connect with somebody that I've connected with before, but there's like an expectation of a connection. People love that first video message. They're like, wow, it's really cool. I love getting a video message from you. So because there's just the communication, it's real and it's you and it's not contrived and you can't misspell anything. And so, which there's always that risk, and I'm not a keyboard person, so I'm hunt and peck typist. You might already can tell. So, but yeah, I've gotten pretty good results using video for that stuff.
Yeah, and one of the things I do, since I don't send out the rate update email anymore, I don't even know if we do it anymore, but I'll just do like a video on what happened in the market that week, good or bad, why rates went up or down, just give a general idea of what happened in the market, because obviously rates are so different between loan programs and points and credit scores and the whole thing. I just kind of give an idea about the trend. And then one of the things that I read in the book too is just like, I've been trying to do this more, is have a really like a hooky type subject. So that way people click on it. Like the last two ones that I've sent out were pretty good, because in BombBomb, you can see the analytics of it. And it was like, what the heck is up with rates? And people were like, what do you mean? So I had a lot of clicks because of that. So I'm just trying to figure out good subject lines, because I feel like when you're sending out videos that way, you can get a lot more people to at least click on it. And then I just had this like thought-provoking moment too, like agents that I might not be actively prospecting, but I know that watch that video might be a good trigger just to like reach out to them too. So I'm thinking I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah. Well, cool.
I'll go next because I kind of have a subject line.
Go ahead.
I was the same way. That's what stuck out with me in this chapter, is just, and one of the hardest things that I think about was a subject line. It kind of, it's like a paralysis by analysis moment. And what I found is Chat GPT actually comes up with some good subject lines. Like if you ask it to write you an email, or even, I don't know how much any of you have like messed around with it, but I would suggest it, because I was telling John before the call, I was like, yeah, I came up with this great subject line for me. And I think it's a good tool to try. Like if you're getting stuck on, I mean, even asking it to come up with capturing subject line for this content, like I think it would just pop it up for you and at least get the wheels turning a little bit. So that's what stuck out to me, is making sure that the subject line is one that's going to be capturing and something that people are more likely to open. And for me, because I'm not creative minded, very easily, Chat GPT has helped me with that.
Well, yeah, it's anything that I've asked it to do. It's amazing. Well, not anything, because there's some things that it doesn't, kicks me back and says, no, you can't do that. But yeah, I've gotten some great use.
Yeah. And I also find that it helps write emails, because another thing I was going to say is just like content. Sometimes when I write it myself, it almost feels like too perfect of writing, that sometimes I think that even if I've written it myself, people will think it'll be a template. So it kind of helps me not like get too stuck in the perfectionist side of me for writing an email.
Right. I don't know.
Got one quick thing to say that I forgot about. In regards to the whole proofing side of things, G told me to download this pretty cool little like widget that you can have on your computer now. It's called Grammarly. There's a free portion of it. And the nice part is if you use signatures and maybe you're updating signatures at all, you know how like the spell proof doesn't work with signatures. Grammarly will catch all of that for you. So give it a try. I like that. I downloaded it yesterday. It's been
I've
great.
been using Grammarly for the Friday. So when after I finish the Friday focus, I copy and paste all the text into Grammarly. It's the last thing that I do. And it's kind of funny because Giuseppe asked me once, right after I started writing it for probably about 6, 8, 9, 9, maybe the first year. Giuseppe goes, "Are you writing that?" Because I'm not, as Giuseppe's, if you don't know, his wife was a school teacher and he's like hypersensitive about accuracy and grammar, and like he gives me shit about ending sentences and prepositions. I'm like, shut up, I don't give a fuck, nobody cares. And so he's like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, yeah, I got it. And so he gave me shit about it once. It's not like it comes up all the time, but he asked me, he goes, "Are you writing that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm writing it." And he goes, "Well, it's really good." And I go, "Well, thanks." And by the way, I use Grammarly on it. He goes, "What's Grammarly?" And so that was the first time that I did. So if you haven't checked out Grammarly, it's a little like Chat GPT, but it's just an AI tool. And if you're writing something, you can just copy and paste it in there, and then it will fix punctuation, spellings. It'll suggest a better sentence structure. It'll help you shorten sentences, and you can use it on anything. You can use it on copy that you're writing for an ad or a postcard or anything like that. And I use it every Friday, or every Wednesday. I write the Friday focus on Wednesdays, and then I copy and paste it. And every now and then I'll forget to do it. And Sarah does the editing and loading of it into the software I use to distribute it. And she'll go like, you got a lot of, I'll go, "Oh shit, I didn't run it through Grammarly. Give me it back. Don't do anything yet. Let me fix it." So it's a great tool. Good. That's a good tip. John, you're muted.
Nobody would accuse me of writing an email that's too long or wordy. And that's exactly, I just don't like to really go on and on in emails. And like this chapter is talking a lot about using it for prospecting. When I'm doing prospecting, I'm always going to make a phone call before I send an email, just to make it more familiar. But unlike Chris, I don't like to send anything that looks like a mass email. I've also opted out of all the holiday stuff. I just think it's too much noise over and over again. And any other lender, like Chris said, that uses Surefire is sending out that exact same thing at the exact same time. The birthday thing, I think, is great, though, in Surefire. It's the one thing I continue to do and follow up on. But yeah, I don't. And then using templates and just always rereading my templates and changing them like almost every time I use it, just to make things a little more concise and more to the point.
I don't know. Christine.
For email, I use quick parts. I don't use signatures. It's a little bit easier, in my opinion, to like organize.
What is it?
You can
What did you
organize
use?
it. Quick parts. And it has spell check and grammar and everything in there. And there's just like a drop down you can organize. I have a quick parts for clients, and I have a quick parts for prospecting, and I have templates that I can easily insert something to make it more
Can you
personalized.
put a link to this in the chat of what this is?
Yeah, I'll do it afterwards.
Thank
But
you.
you can just, it's a little like arrow. You can add a shortcut to it in your email. But that's what quick parts is for, is creating email templates more so than signatures. So it's easier to use once you learn how to use it. But I always have a template, but there's always stuff in there that I personalize to make it for the person that I'm sending it to. And whenever I'm prospecting, the subject line is obviously important because realtors hate emails. So if you can put something in there that directly relates to them and whatever they're doing, I'm always feeding the ego of the realtor. So usually my first couple sentences, "Hey, I saw that video that you posted on Friday. I loved how you did this." Anytime you can compliment them right away, oh, they're like, "Oh, well, thank you. I wasn't sure about that." And that really opens the door to more conversation. So usually I'm always opening with a compliment, just relating to prospecting alone. And then I'll go on to a very short, like a lot of times I'll use bullets. Here's why I think we should meet. It always relates to the compliment that I gave them. And I always do an email first, and then I call or text after. That way my name is familiar in their head because they've seen the email when I call. So I generally have better luck doing the email and then the phone call afterwards.
Right on. It sounds like you're using a lot of the framework of what he's got in this chapter. Good job. That's cool. Right on. Dean Reiber, thanks for sharing.
There we go. A couple things stood out for me. That the rule number one of email's got to be open. So I try to think of one, do I have a subject that's compelling enough that somebody would actually look at it? And then when they open the email, is this something that, I tried not be too wordy, although I know you think I probably write way too much. But, try to be brief, say as much as you can in those little few words as you can. And then the other thing in the book was email's got to be part of your overall process, right? So it's not just email, it's a phone call, it's a connection on social media, it's so email just becomes one part of your overall plan. So those were kind of my takeaways on that.
I don't know. Yeah, for sure. It's not, I've never prospected anybody and gotten one email out and gotten a deal out of it. So yeah, it's part of a process for sure. Jay.
You can get an appointment off the review emails. I get them almost every time.
Off the reviews?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I know Haber started doing this too. After you do a deal with a listing agent, send an email and ask them where they like their reviews left. They reply every time.
I've not been getting the meeting though. They're like, yeah, send the review. And I'll 2 days later, I'll be like, all right, let's meet.
Really?
And
Do you ask for the
fucking
meeting right away
crickets.
on the second meeting? Or
Huh?
the second email? You wait a
maybe.
couple days before you ask for the meeting?
Yes.
I might do it a little bit sooner. And send them a copy of your review that you sent them.
Oh.
I'm gonna call you when we're done.
Yeah.
I love it. It does work pretty well. Everyone's like, yeah, please write a review. And then you get them to write you one, which is helpful for
Yeah.
experience.com. So yeah, it's a great little, I don't send everyone a book, but it does help if you send them a nice book. Or the meeting I got with the realtor this week, she's from Colorado. So I sent her this, I'm a local native, little picture she can put on her desk. You can find anything on Etsy for $10. Got the meeting. Dave's
I'm surprised, Haber.
"What?"
I'm surprised you're sending gifts, Haber. What the fuck?
What, dude? I used to send realtors flowers, dude. Remember that?
Flowers to a female real estate agent on their birthday is at the office, and they don't go. It's harder now because they don't go in. Was fuck.
You got to make sure they're not married, though, dude. Because then you get.
No, it's just from the company.
I don't know, man.
No,
then
not
the
from you,
husband's like,
from-
"Who's the fuck
From
is
Chris
this
Haber
guy?"
at Zenith Home Loans. You don't do it from Chris.
Just saying, dude. Yeah, I'd watch
From
out.
the Hobber.
From Haber. Yeah.
He's good at mortgages and other things.
Oh,
That's funny. Jay, go ahead.
There's a couple of things in this. When he talked about you have 3 seconds to grab their attention in an email.
Right.
I thought that was, really important, talking about hooks and relating back to a lot of what other people have said so far. Something else that stood out was ask yourself questions about your prospect before you send the email out, what's going to get their attention, what's important to them, and what's going to cause them to give you what you're asking for. So.
Right on. You know what? I think, going back to Haber's first comment on, I think that's probably right. There's so many messages that people get on holidays that you're not doing anything. And I don't know that you're taking away from anything, but you're not adding anything. Right. So it's probably not a bad thought. There's probably always a group, and I don't know if I'm sure some of you are doing something similar to this, where you categorize your realtors, your referral partners, and your clients as A clients, B clients, C clients, somehow, some sort of ranking, because you have some clients that refer you like it's a job. And then other clients that you never hear from after they do the loan, even though, you know, they loved you and gave you a 5-star review. Those clients that refer you like it's a job deserve all your attention on those holidays. And I think there's, you know, if you had a dozen or two, maybe say 24 real estate agents or 20, not real estate agents, sorry, 24 consumers, and maybe a half a dozen to a dozen real estate agents that you really want to do, you could make the time to do a personal video message to each one of those people and tee it up to go out when you wanted it to go out. So you don't have to send it, you know, you can delay the send. And I think probably the investment of time that would go into that would have a lot bigger impact. And when they get a video message from you for Memorial Day weekend, I wouldn't have it show up on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. I'd have it go out like Wednesday before Memorial Day. It's like, hey, it's Memorial Day weekend. I just want you to know, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I was thinking about you. If you need anything over the weekend, I'm available. But I hope you have a great weekend with your family and friends. And that's it, man. I'll talk to you later. And that's it. That kind of a message, you know, it's going to get watched and you know, it's going to get listened to. And it's a top of mind message, right? You don't have to, I would say that there's a lot more value in that exercise and as it relates to holiday messages, because I think you're right, Chris. I think, yeah, everybody that's using top of mind is getting the same, every lender is sending the same thing. I remember I was sitting at Scott Nordby's desk, who's the head of innovative real estate, Berkshire Hathaway, one day when I was still producing, and he was referring business back and forth. And it was Monday and he opened up his email, and I swear to God, Barry Habib, you used to be able to send out a realtor update from Barry Habib's shit. And he had like 30 messages from lenders, the exact same messages. And he's just like, I watched him. I didn't say anything because I was sending it too. I didn't say anything, but I watched him hit the top one and then the bottom one and then control, you know, so, and mass delete. I mean, he didn't read any of them. He didn't see who was sending them. It was just click, click. Zzz. We think we're doing something and adding value, and we're not, to your point, Chris. So, if there's no follow-up to that message, then you're really just kind of wasting your time. You're deluding yourself into thinking that you're doing some prospecting and marketing when you're not really doing anything. So if you're going to do something like that and not have follow-up phone calls in place, it doesn't really make any sense at all, I think. So anyway, just my thoughts on it. That's it. Does anybody have anything else they want to add or share or talk about? All right.
I got something unrelated that I just got an
What do you
email
got?
I just got another lead. I'll just share with like some of the new people, like,
You got a new lead?
yeah, while we're on the phone.
Oh,
Now I got 9. What's up? For new people, like the system, the plan works. You just got to do it. I think everyone goes into HomeBot automatically now, right? So you don't have to do that anymore. That was a pain in the ass. Text clients on their birthday. I mean, all my clients, everyone in my database gets my own Monday market update. So anyway, the point is, this client, I helped her buy this property a few years ago. Her tenant now wants to buy it from her, apparently. So I don't know. Hopefully I get the deal, but just saying, like, the system works. You just got to continue to follow up with people and stay in touch.
oh, so this was,
So I helped Susanna buy this home a while back, and the lease is up, and her landlord, her tenant just had a baby and wants to buy it. No realtors involved probably. So yeah.
you don't have to worry about somebody like trying to snake the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So just saying,
so
like,
that's a HomeBot.
pretty
That's
cool
a
when you get
HomeBot?
emails like that, like out of the blue. That's like the coolest thing about this industry. Like, you wake up every day and like you could get 5 leads today and just a trauma deal, and then you're just like, oh shit, I had like no loans next month. Now I have like 5. You know, it's like, it's crazy. It's just fun. So just keep working.
Thanks, dude.
Has anybody ever ran a referral contest with their past clients? Like, sent out something, hey, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell, you can send them my way. You get like a gift card for dinner. Is that like against RESPA to do
That's
that?
against RESPA.
What if I do it quietly?
you know, if you're
If
okay
you're
with
right,
it.
it's no longer a violation of the law.
I got a funny story about that. One of my top realtors, Jeff Plouse, he has 2 lenders he refers, but I'm his favorite. And I went to his client appreciation party. The other lender wasn't invited. And I met his wife and I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Chris. I'm Jeff's lender. She's like, are you the one that sends him the Amazon gift cards all the time? I was like, no, that's illegal. She's like, it is.
Oh,
So
shit.
I was like, that's great. But yeah, I think it's illegal, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone
It's-
feel like everyone does
it's
it.
really
But
simple. It's a thing of value. Just like it's it. Like, is there value? Yes, it's illegal. It's a stupid rule. I hate it. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. But there was a time when it was really frowned upon and people were really taking advantage of. So they were steering business to the guy who was paying them for the lead, right? So
So I
people-
have a lender on one of the teams that I'm a preferred lender on, that there's like 25 agents on there. And this guy pays for the real estate admin fee for them on VA loans. It's like $500, pays him out of his pocket. So they're starting to send their VA loans to him, so he pays them back for that.
like not within the transaction. Oh, well, that's really fucking illegal.
Bored him.
I know.
Like you could just give a lender credit and call it the same, but
Yeah.
if he's doing it outside the transaction, yeah,
He pays him $500.
I would report it. Honestly.
I have a,
wait, so he's paying let me make sure I get this right. So the
You
lender's
can't,
paying.
you can't charge that fee, the admin fee, to a VA buyer on the deal. So they can't charge that at all. So this lender is paying him $500. out of
Pays
his
the
pocket.
realtor $500.
Outside the transaction, like he's Venmoing $500 or something,
Yeah.
apparently, right?
Mhm.
That's a pretty
Yeah, that's
blatant
really fucking illegal.
That's a pretty blatant violation of
That is
restaurant.
that's
Oh, I
like
know.
coffee and a gift card's different, but you are literally
Well, and that's why I'm
paying-
trying to figure out what to do,
I
because
hope
I
he's
don't
not
want,
Venmoing.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers on the team, because I just fired a really big team about a month ago that I work with, so I can't really afford to like do anything weird here either. But
Just warn them because they're in violation as well.
yeah, their
Oh,
whole
they know.
team could go down. Yeah.
Do they know
just-
and they don't care?
I wouldn't say that they don't care. I mean, obviously they don't if it's still going on, but there's some other questionable things going on the team.
You may not want to know.
Let me
Huh?
get this straight. The
You may
realtor's
not wanna
making
know.
about 15 grand on this transaction and they can't afford the $395 fee.
Right. Mhm. That one lender's doing that, and then the other lender on the team is guaranteeing to beat our rates by 3/4 of a point.
Oh, you
So I've
should
been
just throw
getting,
out
like,
super low
any
rates
leads
then.
this team.
5%.
Yeah.
That
That's how you tank 'em.
motherfucker.
Join.
Yeah.
Reliant Home Loans. I don't know if anybody has gone up against them.
Yeah, just offer 5% on a deal and you'll blow them
Right.
up. And they got to go to 4 1/4.
Right.
Yeah, it's pissing me off.
Sorry that's happening.
Their
but
secondary
just-
will call eventually, be like, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. Stop it.
Yeah.
You're losing.
Yeah,
Just hang in there.
I'm trying.
I have a random kind of unrelated question, if I can
ahead.
ask it. Has anyone with student loans coming out of forbearance, does anyone know for qualifying, John, I know I asked you and you said you weren't sure yet, but does anyone know what to do for people who are like pre-approved now, but probably won't buy until after you have to start making payments on them again?
I would, yeah. Maybe find out what their payment was.
Yeah, that's the route that I went yesterday, but I just wasn't sure if anyone else came up against it and thought about it yet.
I mean, I feel like most people are not above the 1% limit unless they're like a doctor, lawyer, and they're like just paying.
Yeah. I
Well,
would
those are
agree.
federal, right? So it's the private loans that we're never in forbearance that people pay a lot more, I think.
Well, and I got like a screenshot from a client yesterday that I ran into this with, and I have to take a better look at it just to see, because she told me what she thinks her payment is going to be moving forward when they start up again, hers start again in September. I just wasn't sure if anyone had.
There's been no guidance on it.
Yeah, I do 1%. You can also like look at do they make a lot of money? If not, their payment's not going to be that high because they'll be on.
Well, everybody has to
Income-based.
reapply for
Yeah.
income-based repayment.
This particular client's at 130 a year.
And
But
what's their
just-
student loan?
I've been using 1%. So I mean, she's the one that sent me something, so I'm gonna look at it, but if anyone comes across it and you want to share with me what you do, that would be lovely.
I just Googled
And-
this. And you can probably calculate yourself.
Okay. Thanks.
Google has a surprising amount of mortgage guideline knowledge on it. It's like anytime if you're not sure, it's like, well, I'll just check Google. Like there's all kinds of shit out there. So you got to make sure you got the right stuff, but definitely leaves you in the right direction. And then that Ask Ziggy tool is, I don't know if anybody's used it, but it's getting a lot of use. And I'm hearing that the people, I don't know if we're doing a good job of using it or not, but I would highly recommend giving it a try.
Speaking on that, I think, well, Ryan left. G told me about this thing that Megan Cloud uses called mortgage currency. I signed up. It's like $33 a month, but it's really cool.
Have you been using it?
I just signed up yesterday,
Oh,
but I looked at something for capital gains income, and it's, yeah, it just goes like FHA or Fannie, Freddie, VA. It's like got all the guidelines right in a row, so it's pretty slick. Rather than going through Ziggy, I think it's a little quicker.
Cool. Christine, thanks for sharing that Able Bits. I've never seen this before. And it's already in. Is it a separate tool or is it already in Outlook?
It's already in Outlook.
Okay. Cool.
Oh.
All right. All right, everybody, let's have an awesome Friday. Go get them. Control your ace. I'll see you later. Bye.